Now, earlier this week, we told you about an education trust trialling a 9-day fortnight as part of efforts to retain staff.
Meanwhile, the charity Now Teach has released figures that show the number of teacher trainees in the East has dropped by a quarter since 2019.
Well, amid fears of a shortage, it seems help could be at hand in the form of middle-aged professionals switching to a career in education and bringing decades of experience into the classroom. Ravina Gatora has been to meet some of them.
Loud is a high amplitude. High frequency, low frequency.
Mr. Goode certainly knows how to bring the energy to the classroom. After seeing an advert on the back of a bus calling for new teachers, he couldn't resist using his knowledge of physics as a force for good. A big change from his previous career, working offshore as a seismologist for 30 years. What do you get from teaching?
The joy of seeing happy, smiley faces as they suddenly understand that physics can be fun. I mean, what more reward can you get than that? Or even pass them in the corridor and, like, oh, we got you today. So it's just quite nice.
That moment when you first went into a classroom, what was that like?
Well, it's terrifying.
After taking early retirement at the age of 50, Chris was looking for a new challenge. A challenge he's now found at Charter Academy in Great Yarmouth, where he's been teaching for the last 2 years. What do you think to teachers who are a little bit older and haven't come straight out of university?
Well, I find it really interesting because they might know more about one subject than the subject they're actually teaching, and you can get more information out of them.
When you know that Mr. Goode is going to be taking your class, what do you think to that?
I genuinely feel quite a bit more excited because he's a really good teacher, and he's really funny as well sometimes. He's got the age, but he's got the young mind at the same time. So it's cool to see how all of the scientific stuff just fits in the brain as well.
And helping Chris to unlock all that scientific stuff was Now Teach, a charity that's helping middle-aged professionals switch careers.
There are more children, more classes to teach, more teachers needed. So the opportunity for career changes, for people who are thinking about their second, their third career, making a change, now is the time when they are really needed. And I think head teachers can really benefit from having a diverse staff body and people who are bringing something slightly different into the schools that they're teaching.
Martes, el 23 de enero.
Being in the classroom is starting to feel a lot less foreign for Spanish teacher Charles Allen. For 15 years, he worked in marketing overseas, including in North and South America, before moving back to the UK. He's now teaching at Holbrook Academy in Ipswich, a new profession, a new purpose.
If I look back earlier in my career and think, could I have been a teacher when I was 30, 35? No way, I wouldn't have been ready. In many ways, my experience, the fact that I've raised my own children, so bringing all that experience, it just feels like the logical next building block for my career. And I would advise anybody who's thinking about it, give it a go. It's the most rewarding and at the same time the hardest job I've ever had.
With such a shortage of teachers in science and modern languages, teachers like Charles are helping to fill the gaps amid funding frustrations and pay problems.
Anyone is welcome in the teaching profession that wants to work with young people, wants to make a difference.
For these wave of new recruits, turning to teaching is one of the best choices they've ever made. Ravina Gatora, ITV News.
Oh, what a great idea.
Yeah,
and they're obviously very popular with the pupils.
Well, they've both had really successful careers. I met Charles, actually, and he's been all around the world in jobs in communications and marketing and everything. It's part of what he brings to the students.
Can pass it on.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Here's what's still to come.